kinds of benefits we go quickly. So in terms of performance, it will be considered as superior than CGI because there will be no process creation for each client request. Therefore, each request which will be handled in servlet container process, that will be handled through the servlet, and all the requests which will be gathered, stored in one servlet, and that is going to process it. So when it will process the completion related to the request, in that case, it will be residing in the memory, and it will wait for the other requests, and collectively those will be sent to the whatever will be the certain kind of database or from where the data is to be captured. Second benefit is portability. As we know, Java technology, which is platform independent, reusability is there due to the object-oriented features. Similarly, servlet applications are also portable. Then it is having the rapid development cycle. As Java technology, servlets are done in Java. So servlets are having the access to whatever are the different libraries which are available in Java. And those are helpful for speeding up the development process. And that way it will be developed easily and fast. Then next benefit is robustness. Servlets are managed by JVM, that is Java Virtual Machine. So we need not to worry about the memory, or we can say garbage collection. That will be done automatically, and it will be helpful for creating certain kinds of rich applications. And widespread acceptance, that means Java is mostly widely used technology, and that is the benefit of servlet. Now, what is meant by servlet? Servlet is basically Java class which is loaded dynamically into and run by the special web server. That is, we are going to discuss, that is about Tomcat. Then this particular servlet web server, which will be considered as the servlet container. Container in the sense, whichever the different kinds of requests which are coming from different clients, or whichever requests will be receiving, those will be put into this particular servlet container or that web server, whichever is Tomcat, and through that it will be interacting. That means it will have the three-tier architecture communication. That means client request will be one layer. Whatever Tomcat or servlet container which will be containing all the requests stored at one place, that is the second layer, or you can say bridge between. And last one will be related to whatever response will be coming related from where the data will be captured. That is the third layer. So here servlet will be interacting with the client in terms of request and response model, and it is mostly based on the HTTP. HTTP is the hypertext transmission protocol, which is considered as the stateless protocol. Stateless in the sense, as the work is done, it will lose the state, and when there will be requirement, that time it will be in the active state. So here servlet container will be supporting to HTTP, as this protocol will be used for the client requests, whatever are coming, and server will be responding to these requests which are received by the clients. So here servlet container also will be supporting to the protocols that we have discussed just now, that is HTTPS, that is which is different than HTTP. HTTP is for hypertext transmission protocol, whereas HTTPS is hypertext transmission protocol over SSL. That is the security socket layer, and these things are required for the secure transaction purpose. That means no hacking, or you can say any kind of misbehavior will be there in terms of the transaction. This is the architecture for the servlet container where the servlet is going to be stored. So this is browser from where HTTP request which is coming, that will be put in the HTTP server. Then it will be coming to the servlet container, that is our Tomcat, Apache Tomcat. Sometimes certain contents are in terms of static contents, somewhere the contents are in terms of dynamic contents. Which are dynamic contents? Those are stored in the servlet container, that is Apache Tomcat. And then servlet is which is going to be responding to the request of the client. So it will be checked, that means whatever is your servlet file, that is your class file, that we'll discuss about the directory architecture later on. So whichever will be that servlet class file, that will be Java file, that will be responding if it is available In that case, this will be responding to the servlet container. Then it is going to give the response to HTTP server, and through that response will be received to the client based on the application. Now we'll discuss about how servlets work. This is the working structure of servlet. First thing is request is received by the client. Then servlet is, it will be checked whether that servlet is loaded. Servlet is loaded in the sense, whichever is the class file, that Java file, which is a Java file after compilation, it will be generating the class file. That class file will be required in that particular directory that we discussed. That will be available. In that case, it will be checking that whether that is the current servlet which you are looking for or it is the old one. Current means if you have done any kind of modification in the servlet file, that means you are, for example, hello-world.java, which is your suppose servlet file. So if you have done any changes and then you have compiled it, and whatever is class file which is put in that certain folder, it is considered as current. Suppose you have done any changes and that is not compiled and it is not the current version, or you can say updated file, in that case it will not be the current file or current servlet. So if it yes, it is, in that case it is going to process the request for whatever request received by the client. If suppose your servlet is not current, that means suppose you have updated some code in that your servlet Java file, and if it is not compiled, so you have to compile it. You have to generate that that whatever is the class file, that you have to put in the directory structure, and then that particular servlet will be loaded. Now you have to check if it is not loaded, then you have to load it. Now if the servlet is loaded, then it will be processing the request and then going to give the response to the client request. Now there are servlet application programming interface. What are the different interfaces which are available in the servlet? Every servlet must implement this particular structure. That is, as we know, in terms of Java, simple Java program, we use import java.io.star. That means input output related packages. Similarly, in terms of servlet APIs, or you can say when we want to do the programming related to servlets, in that case, we have to import these packages. That is javax.servlet.servlet. Now, again, in servlet, it is going to implement the interface by extending two different classes. That we'll discuss what are these two different classes. First class is generic servlet, whereas second class is considered as HTTP servlet. Now, what is meant by generic servlet? If you see here diagrammatic representation, this is client, whoever is requesting through the web browser. That request is coming, which is coming to this server, that is our Tomcat. Then it is generating. Now, suppose in your Java file, if there is service method use, that means you have extended the generic servlet. In that case, service method will be there. Whereas in terms of HTTP request, in that case, instead of service method, you will have either do get post method or do post method. In terms of do get method, those are capturing the user inputs, which are appended in the address bar. Whereas in do post, the information will be not displayed of the client or whatever input is provided by the client. It is hidden. So this is the way how we are going to define the methods that is called as the Servlet Lifecycle. So when we talk in terms of Servlet Lifecycle, there are different steps, or you can say different phases of the Servlet Lifecycle. We'll discuss that in diagrammatic way. So just we'll have recap in terms of what are the different phases of the Servlet Lifecycle. Initialize the servlet. So you have to first of all initialize your servlet file. Then you have to receive a client request, and you have to give the response to the client request. After that, your servlet will be destroyed, and its resources, whichever are there utilized, those will be cleaned, or that memory whichever is utilized, that will be free up. Then to get any startup information you will require, you have to get it, or to return the basic information about your certain things in terms of like your servlet, whoever is author, or whoever is what kind of version is used, whether it is copyright, that things will be in terms of the basic information. So next one is related to generic servlet. What are the different methods generic servlet contains? And then we'll discuss methods which will be contained by the HTTP servlet. So this generic servlet method is init. So you are going to initialize the servlet. So it will be in configuration, which is servlet config class, and it is having its object that will be parameter. Then service. In terms of service method, it will be providing two parameters. First one is servlet request. That object is request. Here you can give R1, anything. That will be name of the object. And next one is servlet response, which is object that is related to the response. So single request, whichever is coming from the client, that will be responded. Then when you are done with your all the things, you are going to destroy the servlet. That is the destroy method, where resources whichever are utilized, those will be cleaned up in terms of memory, or any kind of threads are used or file handling is used. So it will be considered as cleaning of the memory. Then the servlet config, which will be having the get servlet config method, which is related to config object, whichever is given here in the init method, that will be containing information related to any initialization parameters whichever are required or whatever are passed, and that is going to start up the configuration for that servlet. And then next method is a string get servlet info. So it is going to give the information about that servlet. As we discussed in the previous slide, it is going to provide information. For example, whoever is author of that particular servlet file, what kind of version is used, whether it is copyright. So all these details will be there in the get servlet info method. If you see here, this is the servlet lifecycle. This is init method, then service method, do get and do post. These methods are used when you are going to use the HTTP servlet, whereas service method will be used when you are going to use generic servlet. Then do delete if you want to delete the servlet. Do head. Head is nothing but it is going to give the details related to headers, whichever are there. And destroy is for destroying the particular application. This is the way how you are going to use the servlet lifecycle. So servlet, whichever is there, then generic method, in that case, it will be generic servlet. If it is HTTP servlet, now here in generic servlet, init method will be called, and after that service method will be called, which is having two parameters, servlet request and servlet response, and then destroy. Whereas if it is HTTP servlet instead of generic, in that case, instead of service method, it is going to call these methods, either do get or do post. Now, these are the different methods which are used in HTTP servlet. While do get or do post, do get, if it is used, in that case, it is going to use the handle the get request, whereas in case of do post, it is going to handle the post request. And put request, it is going to put the HTTP request and the response. And delete means it is going to handle the delete requests, whatever are there. Now we are going to discuss about what the object we are using in terms of the request, whichever is coming from the client. So request in the sense, this is the servlet request object, which is providing the client request information to the servlet, what exactly client is requesting for. Then servlet container, which is going to create the servlet request object, and then it will be passing that particular as an argument to the servlet service method, so that will be passed as service to the service method, and then HTML form, for example, register form, or you can say login form. So if you are providing login form, in that case, you will have login user ID and password. So these will be the inputs which will be entered by the HTTP servlet. That means It is not the generic servlet, it is the HTTP servlet. For example, you are having the, as we discussed, login form. So it is the HTML form you are creating, and through that you are giving some input as user ID and password. So that information will be in terms of the HTTP servlet, not the generic servlet. These are the different methods. Get query string, you are taking some input from the user as a URL, or you can say some path. For example, form in term is in terms of session. That get session means it is returning the current session whichever is associated with that request. Say a simple thing, whenever we are visiting to any website and you are putting some inputs or your details to that website, suppose count, you are using certain count in terms of taking that how many number of times the user has visited to that page. So if you have bit twice or 2 times, so that will be related to the session. Session will be very lengthy, as well as cookies are also very lengthy. What is meant by that? Whatever is your user detail, that will be stored at the user's machine, or you can say client machine. Whereas in terms of session, user details are stored at the server side. That is the difference between cookies and session. Next object is servlet response object. So that is the object which is related to method, service method. Then it is having different method, that is get writer, that is print writer class. Get writer means you are print out in, like that, println. So similar kind of thing in terms of print writer. Then set content type. What first thing is you have to create the directory structure under Tomcat for your application. Then you have to write the servlet source code. Then now in directory structure, you should have whatever is the structure. Shall I one more? Is it shared? Hello?
Yes, ma'am.
So just I will discuss, we are having less time as it is showing that 10 minutes are left. So meeting may get over. So this is the directory, whichever is directory structure we have to create, that is the web app structure. Inside web app, these are the structures which are already there. So I have created this servlet structure, that is the servlet file. Now this directory is having this particular directory, that is the servlet. These contents are long back I have created. So this is the servlet. Inside that web tech as JSP. Now in this structure, you have to create web INF folder. So that is the thing. You have to create the web INF directory under my application. So here it is my app. In my case, it is the servlet. That is the directory. Inside that, I have created for bifurcation programs which are related to servlet. Those are kept in the servlet folder or servlet directory, and whichever are the programs related to JSP, those are put in the servlet WT the JSP. So now this is the structure which is important. You have to create the directory in capital web -inf. So after that, you have to create the classes directory. Classes, it will be all small case. Then in classes, you have to put all the classes, whatever your Java files are there. What you can create Java structure at any location. You can run that particular servlet file, and whatever is compiled class file generated, that you can put in this classes folder. That is directory structure. Another important file whichever is required for this is considered as web.xml. Now here you have to write the code for servlet. Excuse me. So this is the code. Is the screen visible related to PPT? Yes. Or the directory structure is visible? Hello?
Not PPT yet.
Okay. Okay. So I will do that. Share it once again. Is it now?
Yes, it is, ma'am.
Yeah. So this is the sample program, what you can prepare in terms of. So first of all, we have done with the directory structure. Then we are going to create the program. Now these are the packages you need to import. That is java.io, then javax.servlet.star, and javax.servlet.http. So these http.star. So if you are using certain HTTP request and response, in that case, you have to have this one. And if you are using generic servlet, this will not be required. So now in this case, a class is defined as my servlet and extends HTTP servlet because we are using the do-get method. You can use do-get method or do-post method. So in this case, these are the two objects which are created. First one is HTTP servlet request and second one is HTTP servlet response. Now here two exceptions are handled. That is, one is servlet exception that will be handled through the servlet, and IO exception. We have already included the IO package. Then now here res.set content.types. Res is the response object. What kind of contents you want to display? So we want to display the content in the browser. So it will be text/HTML. Now this is the print writer class. Here we are going to create one object of that class for response.getWriter. That means you are going to write something in that will be displayed in the web browser. So what you are going to write in this out.println, here we have put all the terms in terms of HTML tag. HTML head, title, welcome to servlet, title is given, and in body, welcome to servlet is given. So it will be appearing title of this particular at the left corner of the web browser page, and it will be showing the welcome to servlet in the body, that is in the web page. And then you are closing this object. That means you will free up the memory, whatever is utilized. And then one bracket is used for this method that is close, and this bracket is close, whichever is related to opening bracket of the class. So example is done. So now how we are going to compile the program? Suppose we have put the this particular program at some location. Suppose I have stored it, suppose in E drive Java folder or Java directory, and my Java file is at that location. What I will do, I will compile that program at that location, and I will get class file. I will copy that class file and I will put in the this folder. In my case, it was servlet/wt servlet/web-inf. Inside web-inf, we have created the classes folder, and inside the classes, this particular class file will go. So it will be related to directory structure. Then we have to deploy the servlet. Now for deployment, we will require the deployment descriptor. Now what is this deployment descriptor? That is one web.xml file. So what is the contents of this web.xml file and where it is located? So just I will discuss this part first, and then I will show where is the web.xml file. So what are the contents you have to put in this web.xml file? It will be appearing in web-inf folder. Before means where is the classes?
Sorry
folder?
to interrupt, ma'am.
Yes.
I'm sorry to interrupt. The participants join the link again for the second session, because this, I think so, this will the link will over within 5 minutes. Okay, so you can join the link again. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Continue,
Same link,
Thank you, ma'am. Yes, same link, same link.
Okay, ma'am, no problem. When I will continue till it will get over, and then I will rejoin.
Yes, ma'am. Sure.
Yes.
Sure. Thank you, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. So this is the web.xml structure where that file is located in the web-inf folder, where we have created the classes folder or classes directory. So where that will be there only. So in this web.inf file, we are going to create this descriptor. Important part will require for our program will be this one. So we'll focus on this. So what you are going to create, this will be the deployment descriptor, where you are going to give the information about your servlet, where your servlet is residing in your folder or in your directory. So what are the parameters you are going to use in these tags? Is it over? Okay, just it will be getting over in 1 minute. Okay, just a minute.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. So this will be servlet name. Whatever name you are going to give this for servlet, then servlet class. What
Recording in progress.
So just a minute, I'm sharing the screen. Ma'am, kindly allow me to share the screen. Hello? Hello? Ma'am, kindly allow me to share the screen. It's disabled right now. Hello? 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 Sir, I'm not able to share the screen right now. I need the I'm not able to share the screen.
Ashutosh, has become as host. Can you please remove him as
मैडम
yeah, Shikha.
Recording in progress.
Hello. Yeah, just a minute. I'm sharing the screen. Just first of all, we'll discuss this servlet structure through this thing, and I will show you how to create the structure. So this is servlet name and servlet class, whatever we have just created or generated through the file, that is Java file, whichever compiled, and we have got the servlet class. Then servlet mapping, from where you are going to map it. So it is having servlet name. So this is servlet name we are mapping, and whatever is the URL pattern that we are mapping, in that case we have to put it as a slash, whichever is directory you have created. Suppose I have created, in my case, it is the servlet directory. Inside that, whatever is my file, the name of the file is class file name, and URL pattern completed, and servlet mapping is completed. And then close this tag of web app, and this file will be web.xml. So suppose you have created for the first time, you will put it in this file. Now suppose you have to create many more servlet files, or you are doing a number of programs. So you can put all these things in same file. Just you have to copy this part and put next one, and here you have to change these things with the new programs, whatever you have created. Instead of testing, suppose you are having login. So you will put here login, whatever is your class file name that you are going to put here. Similarly, in this case as well as in this case. So that will be done in terms of the deployment descriptor, that is the web.xml file. Now, how you are going to run the program? Last step. So to execute your servlet program, you have to type the URL in browser. That is HTTP localhost my app, or whatever is our directory name. In my case, it is servlet directory. Slash suppose wt the servlet and slash hello world. So whatever is our simple example, that can be done. So this is about the servlet part. We'll quickly go ahead with the JSP part, and then I will discuss related to the this one. How to do the environment variable setting, as well as what kind of directory structure where we are putting the files. So now we have discussed about the servlet part. Now we are going to discuss about the JSP part. JSP is called as Java Server Pages. Now, what is the difference between servlet, or we have discussed certain benefits of servlet over CGI. Similarly, servlet is having certain limitations, and which are overcome by JSP. Now, in JSP, what we are going to discuss, what is JSP technology, how we are going to use it, how to define, how to write JSP pages, what is the syntax for that, how this works, that is JSP Lifecycle, and how we are going to invoke the page or compile it. Now, JSP is nothing but simplified, fast way of creating the web pages and display the contents in dynamic manner. Now, when we talk in terms of servlet, what we have done earlier, we are whatever Java program we are creating for servlet, we are compiling it, then we are creating the directory structure, then we are putting that in class file, in the classes directory, and then suppose we have changed certain things in our Java file, means certain programming code or lines of code we have modified. So what will happen? Whatever modification if I have done that in the Java file, I need to recompile it again. After compilation, whichever will be my latest recent file, class file, that I need to put in my classes folder and replace the old one. So I need to do lot many things. So in this case, here it is not required in terms of JSP. So in JSP, what happens? Directly you are request browser, client is requesting through browser, and response will be given through Java engine, that is the JSP. We'll see how the structure is. First of all, request in HTML, browser is requesting. Second thing, server will be sending that request to this Java engine. Now here in JSP, it will have connection, or you can say communication with different kinds of files. That can be servlet file, that can be class file, or that can be Java bin file. Then if needed, Java engine will be reading the .jsp file. So Java server pages, it is having the .jsp extension. So then it will read .jsp, it will come to know that this is the JSP file or Java server pages file. Then it will be turning into Servlet, compiling it and loading it. Means whatever we have done in Servlet, all these things manually, that means creating Servlet part, then compiling it, then putting it in the deployment descriptor, that is directory structure, all these things will be avoided in JSP. So when you are running your JSP file, it will be automatically creating that servlet, it will be compiling that, it will be putting it in wherever it is required, and it is loading that, and you are going to get the result. So the servlet will be run and it will generate the HTML part, whatever is required for that application, depending upon the application requirement. Then Java engine will be sending that particular to the server, and then server will send that particular to the client as the response. So that is the JSP, which is having more advantages than the servlet. This is called as JSP architecture. These are the clients who are using different platforms for their web development. Through internet, you are supposed to use this web. You can say World Wide Web. Then you are having this web server, that is we are going to discuss, that is Tomcat. And this is database from where you are retrieving the data, or you are input, whatever you are receiving from the client, you are capturing it and it is stored in the database, vice versa. Whatever data is stored, that will be retrieved, and whatever data is captured from client, it will be stored in the database. So these things are related. I will share these contents with ma'am so that it will be available with you. I will share the files also related to Java as well as related to JSP, Servlet and JSP as well. So this is the sample how you can write the code in terms of JSP. Just you have to include these tags: angular bracket percentage, that is opening tag, and angular bracket percentage closing angular bracket, and your code will come inside this. So that is the structure of JSP file, and you have to save that file with .jsp extension. How the client and server is going to interact through JSP. So this is client request coming, then it is coming to the JSP container web server. It is coming to as a JSP file, then it will be creating the component, that is Servlet. It is compiling, it is putting that particular file in respective folder. Then response will be sent through the JSP file. Then it is going to send it to the JSP container, that is our web browser, and then it is showing, giving the response to the respective client. So these are the, this is called as simple example. If you are writing this particular code and you are saving that, suppose test.jsp, and you will run it in web server, that is Tomcat, in the web browser. So you will get this welcome.jsp world in the web page, or you can say that particular body of the page. So we have discussed just now related to JSP working, request, server, file is getting changed in terms of execution of servlet, then it's compiled, creating the source code from the JSP, then sending to that particular servlet. So that is the JSP working. This is called as JSP Lifecycle. JSP is having 3 steps. One is JSP init, that means page is initialized. JSP service, where you are having the request coming from the client, and you are going to respond to the client request. And last one is JSP destroy. That means after work is done, that particular methods will be destroyed so that it will be free the memory. So it will be having initialization, and it is the main logic, and this is the shutdown. These are the ways how you can do the declaration, expression, and scriptlets. That is called as JSP elements. Declaration, something if you have to declare as the element, in that case you have to put in exclamation mark and something in terms of code. If you want to put in terms of expression, you can use %, that is angular bracket, % equal to an expression. And in terms of code, it is called as scriptlet. That means whatever we have seen the example, this is called as scriptlet. So this is the way how you can do the declaration. Here see, angular bracket, %, exclamation mark, and here one variable is declared, and here it is incremented. So that is the declaration part. There are different kinds of variables in JSP which are called as implicit objects. These are 8 variables. One is request, response, request and response. These are related to HTTP request and response objects. Then out is related to the print writer buffer, which is related to writing the code, whatever you have written the statement, and it will be displayed. Session is related to the session management. Application is related to whatever will be shared through the servlet context by all the servlet. Configuration is about the servlet configuration. Page context, it is related to object of page context for single point of access. From at once you are going to access different pages, that is in terms of page context. And page is variable synonym for this object. So you are going to consider particular. And last one is exception, which are handled through the exception, whatever are there, if any, in your program. So this is about expression, how you can write. For example, suppose you have written string name equal to new string, this one. Get name, you are going to return it in this particular method. And then you are going to use here % equal to this get name, whatever you have defined the method. This is one more example in terms of expression. Here date is taken, that is a util package is used. Remote host, whatever is your host, that IP address, and that will be getting here ID and the host name in terms of host name and the session ID. Page directive, how page include tag lib, these are the different details. We are not having that much time to discuss. Include tag lib. So all these things are related to the JSP part. One more thing is about the forward. Forward is really, nothing but you are navigating from current page to the next page. That is, you are going to give the URL. So that is the JSP :forward page equal to, you are providing here the page. Suppose you want to pass the parameters, you can pass the parameter with parameter name and parameter value. So it will have the key value pair, name of the parameter. For suppose you are having the registration form. So here you can put the URL, that is the name, you will have the value in terms of different parameters. And those parameters you are taking here, name of the parameter and the value of the parameter, and that will be redirecting to that next page, whatever URL you have mentioned. There are different scopes in terms of JSP. Those are called as application scope, session scope, and request, as well as page scope. So when you are taking in terms of page scope, that will be objects will be accessible only within that page where they are created. Means whatever object you are creating in a single page, that is your JSP, those will be accessible only within that page. Whereas in case of request, objects accessible from pages processing the request. Suppose multiple pages are there in terms of any web-based application or website related project you are doing, and where you are having multiple pages where you are communicating with each other, or those pages are redirecting from one page to other page. In that case, you will be accessing those pages through the request processing. Then next object is related to, scope is related to session. So these objects will be accessible from pages belonging to the same session. Same session means if you have log into certain website and you have not logged out till that time, you will be in that. Suppose certain time span is over, in that case, you will be off. That is showing you that session has been expired. So it will be, you will be in that particular pages until you are in the same session. And last one is application, that will be objects will be accessible from different pages which are belonging to the same application. In one application, if you are having multiple pages, so those pages will be accessible throughout the entire application. So these are the different scopes. So as a summary, I can summarize that we have discussed about the servlet part, benefits and limitations of servlet, as well as how servlet works, Servlet Lifecycle, as well as servlet directory structure, steps of the servlet to run. Then we have discussed about JSP. What are the different benefits of JSP over servlet that we have discussed. Then working of JSP, as well as certain kinds of different kinds of scopes of JSP object, that also we have discussed. So I will end this slide presentation and I will show you the directory structure. So thank you very much. Make a day great and successful. Just I will discuss this directory structure. I will share the different screen. I hope the screen is visible to you. Is it visible?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
It's
ma'am.
visible, ma'am.
Yes. So just we have discussed earlier related to this classes directory, and I just discuss about this web.xml, that is the deployment descriptor. If you can see here, I'm having this particular deployment descriptor because I'm having multiple programs I have done. So I have put all the programs. Just you can see here, this is giving the information about set cookies part. If I have to add the cookies, I have put it in terms of this. So number of servlet files you are creating, you can put it in one web.xml deployment descriptor. Only you have to write those particular changes in the servlet name as well as servlet class. And in terms of servlet mapping, here servlet name and the sub URL pattern, what you are going to access. And very important part is here, that is you should have the backslash. Just I will make it font size more so that it will be. Just a minute. It is not showing me font. Just a minute. I will put it in terms of font size more so that it will be visible to students.
Okay, ma'am. Okay.
Is it visible now? So this is the way how you
Yes,
can
ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
structure.
Yes, ma'am.
So,
It's visible.
yeah. So this way I have created for many programs. So it is the web.xml file which is having the end, that is the /web hyphen application. So that is the structure of this web.xml file. It is having this web app, that is the opening tag, and that is last one is for the closing tag. So this is about the web.xml. Then now we'll discuss about how to start Tomcat. Already I have started it, but I will show how to start it and how to. I will just show the one or two JSP pages right now related to the program. So this is my Tomcat I have installed. In Tomcat, we are having, this is the directory structure. Is it visible properly? The contents are readable?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. So this is the bin folder. You have to go to the startup.bat file. If you see here, it's already there. Is it visible? One screen is there, Tomcat, and some directory structure is displayed, and it is showing the server
Yes,
is
ma'am.
running. Yeah. So this is the server must be in the run position. Now, how we can get it from the this one? So we have done it in terms of Tomcat server. We have started. Then Now Tomcat server is started. That is one thing we have done. Then we have done related to this deployment descriptor part as well. That is second thing. Then another thing is related to where your files are located. I will just discuss the structure. Once again, I will discuss this web apps. Inside that, I have created this servlet. Inside that, I am having this. If you see here, some of the files are there in this outside also. So this is the structure. Then inside this web INF, inside this you are having classes and web.xml, both are at the same level. And inside classes, you will have the all class files, whatever you have to run. I will share these contents in zip format with ma'am so that she will be sharing with you. So this is the structure. Now I will show you the things related to how to set the environment variables. That is one part. And then I will show you one or two examples related to JSP, and then we will end the session. Just a minute. Is the screen visible? Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Hello. Yeah. So this is the environment variable.
Yes, ma'am, it's visible.
What we have to make the environment. These two are the variables which are required for running the Tomcat, Catalina home and Catalina base. So we have to create this Catalina home and Catalina base that is related to shutdown, that is startup.bat file and shutdown.bat file. Related to that means these file variables are required for running the Tomcat server, which is required for web application. So that is two variables which are defined here. For these variables, what the path is required, that path will be required, that is in which directory your Tomcat is. Mostly it is in programs, files, or you can put it in C drive itself. So my Tomcat is in C drive. So I have shown it here in terms of Catalina home. Catalina home and Catalina base, both are having the capital letters. And these are the underscores, not the hyphens. Another thing is we have to put the class path. Now, if you see here in terms of class path, what is important things you have to maintain? First thing is in class path, you must have the JRE environment, that is JRE/bin, that is JRE home. First of all, I will discuss about the Java home and JRE home, these two environment variables, and then we'll discuss about the class path, and then we'll discuss about the path. Now, this is the Java home. Java home is related to where is your Java. If you have done it in system variable, in the environment variable itself, you need not to set the path again and again. If you are in C directory and you are just want to check whether your things are running or not, just I will show you in terms of command prompt. Suppose I want, this is my C directory. If I want to check whether Java is working or not, just I will put Java and it will run. So why it is doing it? Because already we have set the Java home and JRE home in these two variables. So Java underscore home, it is also capital. JRE home is also capital. We have to set the path in terms of Java home related to JDK, where it is located in your system. In my case, it is in program files /Java/JDK 118. Then in terms of JRE, again the same thing. The path is Java, that is the C program files, Java, JRE. So that is we have done. Now come to the class path. In terms of class path, you have to set it in terms of Apache Tomcat, and this is very important file for running Servlet. Servlet API.jar. Whatever packages we have discussed, import Java x.servlet.http servlet.star. It means if suppose this file is not there, in that case your program will not be executed and it will not be compiled and it is not going to give you class file. So this particular class path need to be set. Then here class path is set for JRE bin as well as JDK bin, and you can put the Catalina in terms of this way, %Catalina, so that it is going to take the Catalina from whatever we have set in terms of Catalina home variable. So that is the thing in terms of class path. Now we'll just turn to the set path, and I will just show you one example related to JSP. This path, just a minute. Yes, so this is my path. If I edit it, so see here what the path is given for set path. If I'm giving path here, I need not to do the path setting always when I'm going to the command prompt. Otherwise, it is not given here. I need to give the set path everywhere, every time when I'm going to the command prompt. So this path is set as the JDK18 bin. This path is JRE, then Catalina home and Catalina base. If suppose you have to set some one more path, so you can go to the new and you can get from here, go to this particular directory structure, which path you want to set. Accordingly, you can go to that particular, select something, and you can put this particular cursor. You can copy this way, and you can post here in this, paste it here. It will be like this. It is not required, so I will not consider this. So just for example, I have shown it. So this is about the environment variable, different kinds of variables, that is Catalina home, Catalina base, Java home, JRE home, setting the class path, setting the path. So we have discussed all these things. So now when I will click on the startup.bat, this particular file is getting started. So this is it shows that our Tomcat server is in the running state. This is my command prompt. So this is the Tomcat server, which is in the startup Catalina start. That is the file is running. That is our server is running. Now we will come to the part of this one. So when we are here, one more thing is mostly in everywhere 8080 port is used for this particular. If it is not working, in that case, you can go to the server.xml file and you can make the changes in that, which is located where it is in web apps. I need to check it. Somewhere it is there in the library. So if you have to make the changes, in that case, you have to go to that server.xml file and you have to make the changes. And then you have to do it is configuration. Yes. See this one. In terms of configuration, if you want to make some kind of changes, in that case, you can go to this and see here. In my case, server port -1 is given for shut down the port, and 8080 is given for this one. Just a minute, connector. Just see here. This is the port number for this one. It is 8080. Execution purpose also we are using 8080, and for accessing the protocol HTTP also 8080. Suppose in your case, if it is not working, in that case, you can make the changes here. Any number, suppose 9999 you have used, or 8081, 8283, anything you can put, and you will be able to access it. Now, what I will do, just I will show you some example here. Suppose this is the example. For example, I am using here. Suppose this is my HTML file. I need to check where the contents are given. If I'm saying here ABC, it is just giving the message. So it is in terms of the Java form and the what you can say HTML form and the JSP file. So here what is happening? I am giving the index.html file and it is redirecting me to the JSP file. So here no need to create any kind of servlet, anything. It will be directly doing for you everything. So where this file is located, web apps, servlet. I think this is in terms of JSP. I need to check where is the file. What is the file name? Index. So that will be here somewhere. This one. Okay. So this is the way how you can do the servlet programming as well as the JSP programming. So from my side, I have done with. I am once again thankful to the management of Shahu College as well as Swapna ma'am, sir. Thank you very much. I am thankful to all the participants for listening me patiently. So I have done with. Thank you very much. Make a day great and successful. Thank you, all of you. Ma'am, I have done with.
Thank you very much, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. So thank you, ma'am, for your guidance, and this will definitely help our students for their practical as well as project work. Thank you, ma'am, for your valuable time. So on behalf of Shri
Thank you
Shahu
so much.
Mandir Mahavidyalaya, I thanks a lot you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. Thanks.
Okay, I'm also thankful to give for giving me this privilege to share my skills and whatever I am having, so that it will
Haha.
be incorporated wherever the students will require it. And wish you
Yes,
all the
ma'am.
best, all the students, participants. Thank you so much.
Yes.
Shall I leave, ma'am?
Yes, ma'am. Sure, sure. Thank you.
Okay,
Thanks a
ma'am.
lot, ma'am.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. Yeah.
It is showing me end there because it is showing me as a host.
As a host, ka?
Yeah. So if I
Okay.
will end, so everyone will be getting from the
Disconnected. Yeah.
meeting.
Oh, yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
Shall I end from my side then?
help our students for their practical as well as project work. Thank you, ma'am, for your valuable time. So on behalf of Shri
Thank you
Shahu
so much.
Mandir Mahavidyalaya, I thanks a lot you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. Thanks.
Okay, I'm also thankful to give for giving me this privilege to share my skills and whatever I am having, so that it will be incorporated wherever the students will require it. And wish you
Yes,
all the
ma'am.
best.
एम्प्लॉई जे आहे जो स्टाफ आहे तो डिमोटिवेट होताना आपल्याला दिसायचा, परंतु वेगवेगळे कॉम्प्युटराइज मध्ये या सर्व येऊ शकतो. पूर्वी त्यामध्येही त्यांचे एरर फाइंड आउट करणं हे त्याच्यासाठी खूप कॉस्टली